for people that maybe this doesn't come as natural for, this may be a hard question, Robert. So here comes. Are you ready? This is the curveball, but I think you can hit it.
It's fine.
How long should one as a leader expect to take doing this process of appreciating, connection, transparency until you're likely to start seeing results?
Yeah. No, that's fair. I'm going to answer the question, but I'm going to give a little hint of how it became natural for me. Father being in the military, we moved a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm the middle son of two other brothers on each side of me and an older sister. So I'm always the negotiator in the middle, and I've been thrown into multiple new settings. And when I described the history of me growing into research administration and research leadership, I named multiple institutions. So it does provoke anxiety each and every time that there has to be a transition, but there's a process. What does it take? How long does it take is your question for me. It depends on how widespread the cultural change needs to be.
Okay.
So if you're talking about your internal team, I would say that they need to make sure you're not going to leave. So it takes a year of messaging, a year of implementation, and a year of reflection. Okay, like you have to start with listening. Then they have to see practice, and then you have to evaluate and show them the outcome of the year and a half or 2 years of work and how it's producing positive outcomes. The other thing you need to do along the way, if you need to speed it up, is every incremental success needs to be celebrated and celebrated beyond just your team. Show them how they're connected with a broader enterprise and share that success with the broader enterprise. Now, if it's more widespread, I have this story. It reminds me of this time that I was trying to activate culture change in middle of Texas. And it was something simple, right? We should not discharge firearms on campus. Something simple, right? In Texas.
Is that something simple in Texas? I don't know. I haven't lived in Texas.
I thought it was simple.
Okay.
And so our campuses, there had a land grant mission. So it was also, we had cattle and horses, and we had herds of animals. And I was over the animal welfare program. And the policy of the institution was that one would have to register their firearms, and two, they should not discharge their firearms on campus property. And it was really funny and fun that one of the individuals who was a field director in a 10-gallon hat and cowboy boots, and I did buy cowboy boots, so I tried to fit it, but I couldn't put on the hat. I fit the mold wherever I am. Like, I assimilate really quickly. And he said, it was funny. He said, we don't need to register our firearms. We have many of them, and no one can tell me when and where I shoot my guns. And if I need to put down a heifer in the field, and I had to go look all this stuff up, you can't tell me I can't. And I've been doing this 40 years. And so some city slicker coming in isn't going to tell me I need to change the way that I do my business. And this was like it wasn't just me and him talking, right? So this was at a meeting, and there had to have been 40, 50 folks there. And I'm explaining how we need to apply university policy across the board. And I don't remember the guy's name, but I thanked him for the history and the culture. And I said, Mr. or Dr., whatever your name is, I said, look, I don't want to be the person to tell you that the way you've been carrying out business for the past 40 years is wrong. I don't want to be that person. So I'm not going to be that person. What I'm going to tell you is that over time, rules change. And shame on us for not getting them to you fast enough. But the responsibility right now, simple. Have as many guns as you want. Like that's a good thing. And there are special reasons why you might need it on campus property. Fine. We're happy to create an exception process, but the rule is the rule. And I know you love this university 40 years times the amount I love it being here a year or two. I know it. But I want you to continue to love the university and not be at odds with the university. And I want to help you do that. This isn't about me, right? So I take myself out of it. This isn't me against you and I'm going to control your guns. I don't want to do that. Like, that's not my thing. But there is a university related policy. There's a rule related to doing it from the state and the federal government. And when we have federal dollars, I don't want you to lose any of that. So I'm here to help. And so it could have been a really antagonistic conversation, right? If I brought ego into the discussion, but that is not my tact. I don't need to prove to someone my position can win. I don't need to exert authority to convince you that it makes sense. I start at the human level when I converse with individuals. You're a person first, right? I'm Robert way before I was Dr. Nobles. And so I need to understand where you're coming from and what is at the core of your discontent with anything that I'm saying. And then I tackle that. And honestly, Brandon, if it doesn't make sense to me, I tell people, look, I agree with you. Like, maybe you should always shoot the heifer in the field if that's your thing, right? Because there's good reason for it, because you don't want them to be in pain. And there's documentation that we can create to help you do that, and then have an after action report. And so he kind of tilted his hat and said thank you, and then we moved on with other discussions. But it's something that reminds me that when we talk about culture, you need to find the individuals that, and every institution has them, that has things that they take remarkable pride in. Find out who created the current state of affairs and talk to them, because they're going to feel as if you're stepping over things that they've created, that they believe in, a fabric of who they are. And I think as leaders, we always need to project that is never our intention. And never be afraid to apologize if that accidentally occurred. Never. Like, I'm so sorry. That was not where I was coming from. And don't use titles to as a validation of your ability to tell people what to do. You gotta treat people like people first.
Yeah. That story is a masterclass in influencing. So let me tell you what I heard in it that I thought was so beautiful. Rather than oppositional, rather than kind of going at him, you came alongside him. So I love to use the example of Aikido. I can't remember, Robert, if you and I've talked about Aikido before. I've talked about it before on some of my podcasts. So Aikido is a martial arts form, and the whole premise behind Aikido is you never attack your opponent. You redirect their energy, which is exactly what you did there. He had this strong passion, and I want to have as many guns as I want. I'm going to shoot him wherever I want to. And you said, amen, brother, I understand. And you've got this love for the university, and you've got 40 times more than me. And I would hate for you to be at odds with the university. Let's take that passion and energy, and let's channel that in a way that is a win for you and a win for the university. And I want to come in there and solve for that. You came alongside him and redirected that energy. So he felt like you were next to him rather than across from him. And I think we could take that example in culture change. We could take that example in influencing.